Hi, my name is Ramón Pérez, artist on Flash for DC Comics, and you're listening to the True North Country Comics podcast.
Welcome to the True North Country Comics podcast, dedicated to promote Canadian comic book and graphic novel creators and supporters. I'm John Swinimer. On this episode, I chat with Ramón K. Pérez about RAID studio projects and his own comic book plans in advance of Toronto Comicon 2024. This podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Please like and subscribe to that video channel. Toronto Comicon is a spectacular 3-day sci-fi, horror, anime, gaming, and comic book event in Canada that attracts thousands of people to come to the Metro Toronto Convention Centre. Ramón is an established award-winning cartoonist, illustrator, and designer with over 2 decades of experience in the creative field. His work has been seen in Marvel, DC, Owl Publishing, RAID Studios, and more. His credits include the all-new Hawkeye, The Amazing Spider-Man Learning to Crawl, his adaptation of Jim Henson's Tale of Sand for Archaea Entertainment, Stillwater with writer Chip Zdarsky, and many more. He's a multiple Eisner and Harvey Award-winning artist, and has additionally garnered such accolades as the Honor Book and Official Selection 2008 Silver Birch Nonfiction Awards, Forward's Review 2010 Book of the Year Award, and the Schuster Award for Best Graphic Novel 2012, amongst numerous nominations, for his collaborative works in children's literature, digital media, and comics. His most recent work includes cover art for DC's The Flash. The Royal Academy of Illustration Design, aka RAID, is an award-winning artist collective located in Toronto's historic Parkdale. With a primary focus on comics and graphic novels, RAID is a collective ecosystem where artists can build their ideas, collaborate, and access varied expressive platforms. So without further ado, here's my chat with Ramón K. Pérez about RAID studio projects and his own comic book plans in advance of Toronto Comicon 2024. So Ramón Pérez, thank you very much for taking time to chat with me.
Oh, my pleasure, man. Good to hear you, John.
Yeah, absolutely. Good chatting with you, and I do appreciate your time. I know you're a busy fellow. For all the stuff you got going on at RAID Studios, it's just a whirlwind of activity. So
it's nonstop.
I appreciate your time. But before I get going with all the questions, I'd like to ask you, what are you reading today? What's on your bedside reading table?
Right now, I'm actually going down a bit of history, and I'm reading the complete Terry and the Pirates collection. I never read the originals. Obviously, they're way before my time. The company, I believe it's Clover, is putting out the essential editions of the series, the old newspaper comic strip. So, yeah, I'm just diving down back to the roots of comics, basically, and reading Terry and the Pirates.
Was that sort of around the same time as Prince Valiant, or am I off a bit?
Oh, I think it came much later than Prince Valiant. I can't remember the exact year it started, but I believe it was prior. I won't say prior to 1940. It might have been mid-30s, around there somewhere. But don't quote me on that. I just know that we follow Terry into the military and stuff like that. So, and he grows from a young adult to an adult over the course of the series. But I know a big step of the series was him actually going to fight in the war. So I would assume, just based on that alone, it had to be a little bit earlier than the 40s, assuming it was World War II for that matter. It could be World War I, but I think it was World War II.
Right. Well, we're talking today because you're going to be tabling at Toronto Comicon with RAID Studios. So I'd like to know, what is it you like most about going to conventions?
What I love most about going to conventions is just actually reconnecting with friends and fans. Basically, we live in an industry where, a lot of us work from home these days, or things are done online or Zoom meetings or whatnot, and it's actually nice to connect with people who read and admire your work face to face. But it's also great to reconnect with fans, fellow peers, fellow artists and writers who you sometimes only see at these kind of shows. So it's just really a beautiful social affair for me.
That's cool. Do you have any favorite moments from the past conventions or festivals? Anything that stands out?
This is a PG show, right? So I don't know about
well, within
that.
reason, you sure?
No,
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's just at the end of the day, some of my favorite moments are just the times of just heading out with friends after the show's wrapping up for the day, going out for a nice dinner, having a few drinks, and just reconnecting, catching up with stories and the like. One of my more favorite recent shows was in United Arab Emirates in Abu Dhabi, and we spent the day in Dubai, but the show was in Abu Dhabi itself, and just being at a show where I got to meet and connect with over 30 artists from around the world and just get to know them. People I've been following for years on social media. Yeah, it was just great to put faces to names, hang out, and just suddenly have a new batch of friends around the world, basically.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I remember you telling me way in the past that you went with a Canadian contingent to Japan, I think it was.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
2017. I did with the TCAF exchange. Myself and several Canadian artists went and just got to tour Japan, Tokyo, discover the city, see great art exhibits, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, so it's just one of the little perks of our career that you don't really think about, but it's just wonderful to travel the world and meet like-minded individuals.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great memory to have for sure. So, with Toronto Comicon coming up, I'd like to ask you what you'll be showcasing at your table. I know that Raid Studios has a ton of stuff. So, what are some of the things that you'll have going on there?
To be honest with you, we'll be showcasing a lot of our books that we printed over the past few years, from our Raid anthology to the Forest Folk collected editions to Tale of Sand, our first prose novel. We have a lot of things in the works right now, but a lot of those projects are either currently launching or about to launch, and they'll be available for the larger show later in the year, Fan Expo Canada. This show we just kind of used to reconnect with people and promote upcoming projects that will be launching over the next, say, 3 to 6 months.
Cool. Yeah, I know that Cauldron is
Yep.
going to be a big thing that you're working on. That, and I
Yeah.
get the impression might not be ready for this show, but shortly thereafter.
No, yeah, we just wrapped the Kickstarter for Cauldron Forbidden Appetites. And the book is pretty much going to the printer within the next few weeks, but it's being printed in China. And it won't be back in our hands for another 3 or 4 months.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
something to look forward to, though. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly, for sure.
Yeah. So that's just one of the many projects you have on the go. Is there anything else that you can talk about that's coming up, perhaps that will be available later on this year?
Well, I'm working on Flash for DC Comics. I don't think my first issue is quite out yet. I think it's not coming out for another month. So there is definitely that aspect of my career as well. So we have my work for DC Comics. Plus, I've done a lot of variant covers. I have various prints of my own as well. So there's a lot of things in the works that I'll have at the show promoting my artwork in general and Raid in general, with our goal to actually just inform people of what we're doing, what we're creating, and what we're putting out there over the next year.
Yeah, it's exciting times, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know. I love it.
So, with your artwork that you have on the go, you're doing covers and you're doing the Flash. Wondering, what is your go-to tool for creating art these days?
These days, I'm predominantly digital, though I do some traditional covers every so often. The majority of my work, I use Clip Studio. It's, I guess, a manga-based art platform, really that caters towards comics creation. And that's what I use in general for my finished ink work, basically. Then I'll switch over to Photoshop to add color, textures, and that sort of thing.
Are you using a tablet of any sort in the process? Or
I use the Cintiq tablet that I have at the studio. Yeah, I used to have a portable Cintiq, but now I'm working predominantly at my desktop. And every so often, I use an iPad, but that is more for sketch-based work. I don't really use it for finished work yet. So that might be a caveat to that. After I pick up the new iPad, and maybe I find it maybe handles a little bit better than the model I have.
Yeah, we're hearing rumors like at the time of this recording that there might be, like just today they did the MacBook Air M3 got announced
Oh, did they now?
by
Nice.
by press release only. So
Yeah.
no event for March, but there's hints of maybe a more significant iPad Pro coming.
Yeah, that's right. I've
Up
seen
your
the
alley.
rumor mills, so I'm hoping
Yeah.
that it hits the shelves sometime March till April, and that'll be
Yeah.
perfect for myself because I want to actually start utilizing the iPad a bit more. I love my Cintiq, but it's not as portable.
Right.
And while I did have the portable one for quite a while, the interface wasn't something I was happy with, basically.
Right.
So,
Right. Right.
I'm hoping the new iPad with its updated technology
Mm-hmm.
and stuff will make for a better work surface for me in general. Like, I know a lot of people that already use it for finished work, so I'm curious to go down that path and make myself a little bit more remotely available.
Yeah, not too much longer now. You'll
Yeah, I know,
hear some
right?
news any second now. Probably by the time this is out, you'll probably hear it. But anyway,
Oh, for sure.
yeah. So at these conventions, I know that you get a ton of people that come up to your table, but I'm sure you get these people who come up who want to make their own comic book. They're so excited. They're saying, "You're making something. I want to make it too." What is one piece of advice that you would pass along to these would-be comic book makers? What would you say to them?
Well, I mean, in today's day and age, I feel like people who want to create something, whether it's comics or art, there are so many tools at your disposal that there's really no excuses to dive in and start putting it up there, whether it's on an Instagram, a TikTok, a Webtoons, whatever it might be. Everything is available at your fingertips to reach a worldwide audience. So I know a lot of creators who will often spend time, for years world building or finessing their scripts or whatever it might be. And I just say, just dive in. You got the idea, dive in, do it, get it out there. The sooner you get to doing it, the sooner it evolves and becomes the thing it was meant to be, basically. So
Sounds
really
good.
just putting aside the time and knuckling down, really. It's the best advice I can give.
That's great advice for sure. So, with all the projects you have on the go with yourself and with RAID, I'm wondering where you recommend that people go online to find about everything that you've got on the go.
Two easiest places would be RAID.world, which is our website, though right now we're doing a massive overhaul of the site, and personally RamonPerez.com, and that'll lead you to all my social media and everything of the like.
Sounds good. Well, Ramon, those are all the questions I have for you, but I'm wondering, is there something I didn't ask that you'd like to get across in this interview?
No, I'm just excited about the year to come, and it'll be great to connect with people at shows this summer, the spring, and the winter, and I'm excited just to get books out there and in people's hands.
Thanks to Ramon for the chat. You can discover more about Ramón K. Pérez at RAID.world and RamonPerez.com. And thanks to you for listening to the True North Country Comics podcast. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to and like this podcast on Apple Podcasts. Remember to check out the TrueNorthCountryComics.com website. True North Country Comics is on YouTube. Please like and subscribe to that video channel and hit the notification button. You can follow along at True North Country Comics on most social media sites. And remember, you can send any and all feedback to John at TrueNorthCountryComics.com. Thanks for listening, and come back soon for another episode. Bye for now. True North Country Comics Podcast is copyright True North Country Comics, copyright 2024.